This weather pattern is turning very intense, everybody, as we have multiple threats ongoing. Now, our severe weather threat, we have chances for tornadoes, damaging winds, hurricane force potentially, and very large hail. But also a potential derecho is trying to form up. Now, the requirements for a derecho is at least 60 miles wide, 250 miles long, of 58 miles per hour sustained winds coming with this big bowline echo of winds coming through. And so far, it's looking possible for the Ohio Valley as we go through for tomorrow. Plus, what's happening in the tropics. We have over here along the Pacific, this is Invest 93C, showing it could be a potential straight hurricane that's hitting towards Hawaii. I'll show you the latest information. Plus, over here for the Atlantic side, still showing these two waves has a possibility, but it's going to turn out through the Atlantic. But later on, it could be a moment where as it's moving northward into the central Atlantic, expanding high pressure could bring some of it towards the west. So I'm going to show you the latest information in this video, what everything is doing in this wacky weather pattern. So we have three areas to watch. The one in the center, it is going towards conducive environment as well. 30% in the next 48 hours, 60 in the next 7 days. But as it goes further on that north-northwestward jog, it's going to go into cooler waters eventually and weaken down. It's this one right here on the left that is at 50% in the next 48 hours, 90% in the next 7 days. And right now they have it moving west, northwest, or just plain northwest. So there's two patterns showing right now. There's a pattern going towards the north and a pattern going towards the southern side. The one going towards the southern side has hugged closer towards the Hawaiian Islands, and it is trending. Still showing in the environment, we have this upper level high feature that is pushing everything towards the west, and that's what's directing the traffic. And you can see it's pulling that wave, that system, right towards the Hawaiian Islands. And the latest updates shows it went further towards the north, allowing the system to travel a little further north, and it could be a direct hit around Sunday morning, Saturday evening for the Hawaiian Islands. Now, the GFS is showing this high pressure a little bit more towards the west, allowing this to come further north, then get directed westward across the northern Hawaiian Islands. So either way, it looks like there's going to be some impacts. However, the GFS would be less on the winds and the rainfall because that's going to be north side loaded. In fact, the latest runs of the ensemble shows it could be a southern hit as you go through for Saturday evening. Now, the blue one, this is Google Mines. This takes it towards a major hurricane. It pulls it away from the islands a little more southern. You still have impacts of all the heavy rainfall. And the Euro and the high resolution of the Euro takes them right below the southern track of the islands as you go through for Saturday evening, showing chances for a tropical storm trying to become a hurricane. Now, the Google Mines takes it right up towards a hurricane, but it's taking it further away as well. So this is what I want you to look at. This is an automatic tropical cyclone forecast, showing it will more likely go northward, and as you go in 72 hours towards that 5 days, take that sharp westward turn. Now, this would be according to the GFS, and you can see a lot of these ensembles is showing this. In fact, when you go by the GFS, you can see the GFS shows more likely would be right above it, and it's been showing that yesterday. But look at the trend, everybody. So when you go by the Euro ensemble, it takes it right below the islands. When you go by the Euro AI ensemble, right below. When you go by the Canadian, also right below the islands. Even when you go by the AI ensemble of the GFS, right below the islands. So even though the GFS is showing what the automatic tropical cyclone forecast is showing, so I'm showing that what the Euro is showing is actually trending, and it's going to bring all the impacts across the islands as it goes right below it. Now, this is actually one of the worst scenarios to have a hurricane or a storm forming over here in the Pacific because it stays in the warmer waters and not further towards the north, but all the impacts are northward, so you will get all the impacts on that scenario. But you also can see when you look at the intensity models that as we go through from Friday into Saturday, showing a lot of strength, but more likely will be somewhere around a strong tropical storm, maybe even a weaker hurricane that could weaken up a little bit before it gets towards the Hawaiian Islands, but showing it could be a strong tropical storm right here, bringing impacts. Showing that could bring a lot of rainfall still, and this is going to bring a lot of flooding once you go from Friday all through the weekend for Sunday, even leaving out for Monday. bringing a whopping load of rain. This is a whole bunch. All that purple, that's all going towards a foot to a foot and a half for the central and the southern islands. Showing the heaviest is 21, and that's right over the highest peaks. So all that's going to drain downward into the towns as well. So be aware that so far this is looking like it's going to bring a lot of flooding. And on the latest track, showing that the wind gust could get all the way up towards over 100 miles per hour on the eastern side of the central islands. So be aware of the strong wind gusts that's coming with this system as well. A lot of flooding and a lot of winds. Now on the Atlantic side, you see we have the outlook for possible storm to form off that front like I was talking about yesterday. No threat to anyone. Plus his first tropical wave is at 10% in 48 hours, 10% in the next 7 days, where it's going to move quickly westward across the central tropical Atlantic, and it will become a less favorable environment as it moves towards the west, but it could reach some lesser Antilles and bring a little bit of rainfall. That is it. The second one is the one that we need to look at. Still showing is at 20% in 48 hours, 60% in the next 7 days, just for a tropical depression to form. And still showing it's going to get pulled around this high pressure as that trough is creating that hole for everything to get pushed northward. Now, some of the ensembles is showing that high pressure could stretch further west after it opens up, and it could leave a chance for it to close back after that trough passes. So we still have the same environment. We got the big high pressure reaching way out into the Atlantic. We have that trough that's coming through, bringing our storm, so we got to watch out for that as well. And we have our tropical wave that gets steered towards the west, and still showing that trough creates that opening and it pulls it further towards the north. But if you take a look, we're literally going 7 days at this point, and that trough is starting to pass by. So now we're around 9 days. So this is where the high pressure could stretch back out, and this could either go further towards the north, get pulled by that jet stream. It all depends if it's weak or strong at this point. The stronger it is, the higher in elevations it is, and it's feeling that tug from the jet stream. The weaker it is, it would get pushed a little bit further towards the west, and we still got this high pressure over here going like this. So it could pull that towards the west at that point. And we're literally going 9 days right there. So far the census is it'll get pulled out, but if this slows down just a little bit more, it could go towards the west. You can see this chances for a tropical depression showing literally as it gets tugged towards the north. You see how it takes that westward push for a moment instead of staying on that northward push. And this is going right at 7 days. But still showing that trough to give it that opening and pull it further towards the north. Now, once we get around 10 days, this is where it could either pull north or get pushed back towards the west while we're getting this front and some convection creating over there as well. So we need to watch both areas. You can see this with the latest Euro showing the upper level moisture. So as that moisture pocket really develops nicely, it gets stronger to where it can combat the Saharan air layer, the dry air, and it gets pulled to the north because of that opening by that jet stream. But then it shows it could get something front induced, and look how that goes further towards the north. This plume heads north, and then we get something that tries to get front induced going back towards the west. And you can see this in the latest runs. So we really need to watch this transition. That's getting a little bit tricky. But still, I'm watching every possibility. You can see here with the Euro ensembles showing as we go 7 to 8 days, more likely we'll make that quick turn right past the Lesser Antilles. But then you see another group that goes further towards the west, and that started growing and showing those could intensify quickly. This is very warm waters. There's a lot of deep ocean heat right here. It could intensify very fast. Still, the trend is that it'll get pulled by this high pressure. But what it does when it gets to the central Atlantic, be honest, which is still unknown. The weaker it is, the further west it could go. But you can still see right here on the trend that it still will more than likely curve. You see these little zigzags? These are little stalls and picking itself right back up. So hopefully that stays. But you can see what it has grown overnight is an area of ensembles showing something could try and go further towards the west. But we also have a lot of storms that's coming through, and this is building as well, showing some very strong storms that come through later tonight. We have strong storms for today, but showing that could build up towards a potential derecho for tomorrow going across Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes. Plus, it could be more storms as we go through for the Wednesday and the Thursday as all these ridge riders come whopping across the north. showing our chances for accumulated supercell composite is very strong for storms to form. Also, right here along the East Coast. So be aware of that as well. Now, yesterday we had some flooding. You can see that in the green. We also had some wind gusts across the southwest and the central. You can see that in the blue, but also some wind damage in this light blue. And we did get 2 tornado reports and possibly a third or fourth one, maybe even a recycle right there for northern Illinois. And this is creating power outages. Some of them has gotten better, like across the 4 corners. So far, we have Ohio at 45,000 without power, in Michigan at 16,000. Arizona is at 9,000. It has gotten a little bit better. So far, 113,000 homes, over 113,000. And you see how it has grown for today. Multiple slight risk areas, even our chances for tornadoes right here across Ohio Valley to Great Lakes. Also right here along the East Coast, everybody. So here's your cities and states at risk for potential tornado for today. And the wind threat, which is a high threat, chances for 70, 75 miles per hour wind gusts in this black hatched area. And it could be some strong winds right here from Ohio going towards western Pennsylvania. So here's your cities and states at risk for the damage and wind threat for today. And the hail threat as well. Chances for large hail, at least 2 inches in diameter in this black hatched area. So here's your cities and states at risk for the hail threat for today. Showing these storms will kick off once we go through noontime and beyond. Starting off for eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, western New York. Once you go around 5 and 6 o'clock, then it really kicks off for southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, going through northern Indiana. Once you go through 7, 8, 9, goes all the way towards eastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, Long Island, all the way towards northern New England as well, as you go through the evening, bringing these storms. Now, when it turns into a cluster like this, you still could get some winds, but more likely just going to bring a lot of rainfall, and you will not have your tornado threat at that point. But you see that carries all the way through the early morning hours, going through West Virginia, Maryland, and Northern Virginia. Then, for tomorrow morning, another round comes through for northern Indiana through Ohio. But what's forming over here for southern Minnesota is going to carry across through the evening and become a potential derecho after you get your second round of storms through Ohio. This third round coming through for eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin for Tuesday morning, northern Illinois. Grows according to the latest run through northern Indiana and southern Michigan by 2 p.m. And this is where you can see the winds could be very strong. You see the Bowen line feature in that. That's representative of a very strong wind pushing right behind it as you go through from 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6, and it picks right back up and keeps going through the evening, 7, 8, 9, and 10 o'clock at night, showing it could be a potential derecho. Now, it showed so far going all the way to West Virginia, coming from Indiana, even northern Michigan through Ohio. A derecho needs to be 60 miles wide, 250 miles long, and at least sustained winds of 58 miles per hour wind gusts to be called a derecho. Whether it's a little bit short of that or not is going to bring a lot of dangerous winds you need to be aware of. But for these storms that pick up for today through Ohio, going through western Pennsylvania, you can see how that builds through the evening, northern Illinois, going through Michigan, Indiana. Again, this is what's bringing those strong winds. So be aware of these winds coming across as you go through for today and through tonight as well. And all that green is 40, all the orange is 50, and you get to 60 in the red and the 70 over here in the brown. Also, the storms that come across from Wyoming going across Nebraska as well, bringing chances for 40 and 50 miles per hour wind gusts, maybe even get some 60 in there from Wyoming through central Nebraska, western Kansas, so be aware of that. Bringing 40 and 50 across Arizona as well, mostly southern Arizona. Then for tomorrow, look how it brings all those winds again, all the way from southern Minnesota, Iowa, then it goes across Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and it grows into West Virginia and Virginia. A potential long derecho starting in Iowa. It all depends how wide it gets when it starts in Iowa. But either way, this could be a long, dangerous event. So for tomorrow, for Tuesday, we do have that tornado threat. It's a 2%. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for that. Also, the wind threat coming with it, even hurricane force winds in this black hatched area. That's wind gusts of 70 to 75 miles per hour. So here's your cities and states at risk for the damage and wind wind threat for tomorrow. That's where you could have a potential derecho. Also, the hail threat. It will be on the low end, and it could ramp up a little bit for the Dakotas. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for the hail threat for tomorrow, for Tuesday. Now, for Wednesday, we're going to be in this pattern. We're going to be there for Thursday as well. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for the hail threat and wind threat for Wednesday. And you can see here with National Weather Service and Colorado State University showing that would be stronger as this goes towards the Ohio Valley, towards the Mid-Atlantic again for Wednesday. So that is expected to grow. Plus, as we go through for Thursday, don't have anything yet, but you can see here at Colorado State University, still showing this is going to be more severe weather all the way towards Friday along the Mid-Atlantic and the Southeast. So we'll keep you updated. Plus, updates on this heat wave that's moving, plus this cold air is coming through. The first cold front. So remember, this is coming through from the middle of August, from the central to the eastern United States. But unfortunately, of course, not everybody is going to be in this cool down. We also have extreme heat. There's going to be a lot of heat and a lot of heat indices that's going to come back because of this weather pattern, everybody. So over here across the south and the southeast, all the way towards the 21st, extreme heat, plus rapid onset drought risk, and all this orange and all this dotted sections, this is where drought may persist or worsen. In fact, showing this is going to bring a high risk to the temperatures. Now we have a lot of cool air across the north, but over here across the south is going to get very hot, especially with the heat indices once again. And you have a high risk over here across Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, western Florida Panhandle, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and southern Kansas, and a little bit of southwestern Missouri. So as we go through for this Friday, this is where it's going to start kicking in really good. You're going to be in the 70s across the north, even the Rockies, but you see the hundreds that's building up over here across the southwest, the central, and the south central, also across the southeast. This is going to be your actual temperatures. Remember, this is taken in the shade. Now, the worst part is going to be our heat indices are going to come back. This is your feels like temperatures for Friday. Now, overnight Friday into Saturday morning, you can see the cooler temperatures coming through. This is going to deepen as we go through the days. But unfortunately, this big pocket of 80s overnight is not going to go away. You will not be able to leave from this heat. You can see the Euro compared to the GFS. The GFS is bringing some 40s in there also for New England as we go through for Saturday morning. As we go through for Saturday, you can see it heats right back up with these hot temperatures and the heat indices. Now, this could potentially carry all the way towards Illinois and Indiana, where you just had some 60s and 70s. Now you're over 105, 110 degrees. Feels like temperatures all the way across the southeast. Now, overnight, it will go right back towards the 70s, but you can see where the 60s are. This is going to go lower into the U.S., everybody. You can see this with the Euro, also with the GFS. But as you go through for Sunday, you can see how you stay in the 70s for your highs. But still across the south, towards the east, even the southwest, still over 100 degrees. And the heat index value, once again, is going to be very brutal. Over 110 potentially across the southeast on your feels like temperatures. But when you're across the north, look at this. Monday morning. This is your temperatures for a Monday morning. You're going to feel great across the north. You're going to be hot across the south. And you can see this according to the GFS as well. It is trending with this cold front. But unfortunately for your highs for Monday, look across the north. You're going to be in the 70s. Across the south, you're going to be over 100 degrees in the southwest. And with your heat index value, you're going to feel really muggy. And for Tuesday morning, the cold front coming right back towards the north. I hope everyone will be safe in these storms, especially as we go for today and for tomorrow, everybody. Before I go, a quick word from our Father. Psalm 121, 7 and 8. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, even forevermore. Amen. Thank you for your time, everybody. Let me know down below, are you going to be in the heat or these cooler temperatures coming through? Hope you have a very great day today. And remember, above all things, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope he keeps you safe every single day of your life and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everybody.